All right, so today we're going to do our final project for Microeconomics with Dr. Two. This is going to be by me, Luke Moylan, Brady Evans, Will Lassiter, and Jaxon Churchill. We're going to talk about the things that either keep you in college or drive you out of college. These are the things that you spend on college and you get out of them, otherwise known as your costs and benefits. And they have two categories. The first of these is perceived. These are the things that you think you're spending, like your time and your effort. The benefits that you get out of it are kind of the ideas that you think you're gaining, like the social status of having a degree and things of that nature. Then you have the real costs and benefits. This is the price tag that you're looking at, like your tuition and the money that you're going to make after college by having a higher income. So with perceived, we think about what students think college entails. With the costs, you talk about how students overestimate the time that college classes take. So someone coming into college thinking, I can't keep a job. That's just not true. College classes are 15 hours. That means that they take 15 hours a week. It's very simple. Now you might spend that same amount of time studying, but there's still time to keep a part-time job if you so wish. Students also think that dropping out avoids debt. That's not true. You drop out after a year of college and you've spent somewhere, depending on if you're in-state or out, between $20,000 and $30,000 on just tuition alone. And that money is just dead. There's no getting anything out of it. And they associate this with massive debt. You can get out of college without debt if you end up with scholarships and working your way through it as well. Benefits. These are things that students believe that because they have a degree, that they will have an automatic high-paying job. It's not true necessarily. It gives you routes to have a higher-paying job, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee a higher-paying job. Students believe that college is there for the social aspects of it. The social aspects are there to make college seem better. They're not there to be college. College is your education. The social aspects are added in things that make college better, and you don't necessarily have to do them. Students think that because their major is one thing, that the future is locked in for that for good. It's not. You can get an ag degree and end up being a banker or a steel worker or something else. You don't necessarily have to use the degree in its fullest extent. Now we're going to talk about real costs. Real costs are your sticker price. These are coming from me as an out-of-state student with the out-of-state cost taken away. So my cost for living on campus my first 2 years, on average, was $11,345 per semester. This year, living off campus was $8,645. That is your real cost. This is what you would see coming out of a bank account every year. The time spent in class and the time spent studying after class and any time that you spend on social activities can also be counted as costs if you're talking about time that you could be working and making more money. Now we talk about the real benefits. According to the U.S. Department of Labor Statistics, in people over the age of 25 with a college degree, their unemployment rate is less than half of people who did not go to college that are age 25, people who only completed high school. Now we're going to talk about some statistics from the National Center for Education Statistics and the median income based on the level of education that you see here. So with high school, you have $41,800 as the median income for just a regular high school graduate. Someone who went on and got a 4-year bachelor's degree would make 50% more than that at $66,600. Someone who spent the extra couple of years to get a master's degree would make $80,200. So the difference between a master's degree and a high school degree is almost double. All right, so now I'm going to introduce Will Lassiter to talk about the incentives that we are proposing to increase the perceived benefits and reduce those perceived costs that would make things harder for students to want to stay in college.
So I'm going to be talking about how academic incentives will help keep students here longer. So our idea is that H-State offers, incentives to students that make either the Dean's List or the Chancellor's List. They get $500 for the Dean's List, $1,000 for the Chancellor's List. Offering these incentives will give students a reason to, actually try to get good grades, and it will also cause a boost in retention because they want to get good grades, which will give the university more money. Because if a student's trying to get good grades, chances are they're going to try to get good grades in the future because they want to keep getting these incentives. So that'll keep students coming back, which will make the university more money, and maybe the university will see enrollment increase as well because incoming students will hear that H-State's giving out incentives for making good grades. I went backwards. So there are some schools that already offer these incentives. The University of Illinois Chicago, their College of Liberal Arts, they give incentives anywhere from $400 to full tuition for grades, stuff like that. They also see, according to College Factual, an 82% retention rate among freshmen that achieve these incentives. So that's a good thing that H-State could do. We have a 79% retention rate, also according to College Factual. So that would maybe go up if we do these. Other schools that offer these incentives as well is Kingsbury Community College and the University of North Texas. Next, I'm going to introduce Brady Evans. He's going to talk about how behavioral economics ties into all of this.
Okay, so I'm explaining how behavioral economics is at play in all this. So Will gave us a great example of how we're going to keep students here, and that is creating academic incentives. So this ties into nudging, and nudging is whenever you create an aspect or option or choice that would alter a person's behavior in a predictable way without limiting other options. So in more simple terms, you're pushing somebody to do something that they believe would benefit them. So this is a great, academic incentives is a great way to explain that. What we're doing is we're giving students the option to get better grades to benefit them because they'll get that money from getting better grades, and that helps them pay for college. They can use that money for whatever they want, and then it also helps them have better grades, and that therefore has them stay in college longer. So overall, academic incentives is just a great way to keep students here, and then we explained to you how nudging ties into that. So now we're going to talk about anchoring, which is also behavioral economics, and anchoring is a little bit different than nudging. Anchoring is the effect that is made from an initial price that is given to, in this case, students. So this is what Luke was talking about. Students are seeing this initial price given to them by the university of housing, meal plan, tuition, all that, and you see, oh, this huge number, oh, you know what I mean? So what we're trying to do here is get away from that initial price and explain to students like, hey, scholarships are academic incentives that we want to apply, and to other things to just show how much less college can be. All right, now I'm going to introduce Jaxon Churchill. He's going to talk about academic advising and how that will help keep students here longer.
I'm Jaxon Churchill. I'm going to be talking about how the problems of academic advising and fixing them can help with retention and dropout rates. According to Arkansas State's website, we have 17,926 students enrolled this fall and only 18 academic advisors. One of the biggest perceived cost of college for me personally is inconvenience, and I'm sure that goes for everybody else. And it's really hard to get in with an advisor when there's one advisor for every 995 students. Having little advisors can cause a lot of stress on students when trying to add classes, drop classes, or create schedules. One of my personal experiences, it took me 2 to 3 weeks to get in with my advisor to create a schedule, which allowed all my other classes, good classes, to fill up, which left me with a pretty bad schedule, which I believe can have a lot to do with dropout rates. I think that hiring more advisors would also help students to be able to pick the best schedule for them, which would ultimately decrease dropout rates. That's all I have. I'm going to reintroduce Luke Moylan for a conclusion.
All right, so throughout this project, we've talked about ways that we can increase student retention in Arkansas State. Here you see the works cited page, and I'm gonna kind of explain to you real quick how we believe that this will be a financially neutral sort of thing. Now, say the departments either hire a couple more advisors or train faculty who are already employed to do some advising, they might spend a little bit of money. That will be dramatically offset by just how many more students stay. If you spend $10,000 a year to add assistant advisor to the title of a professor, and he keeps just one student, just one, that's $10,000 in a semester, easily. And that's a student that doesn't even live on campus. That being said, that's why I believe that this is a financially stable and neutral sort of project. Thank you.